We've got some breaking news out of the NFL where the Pittsburgh Steelers have named Russell Wilson their starting quarterback for Week 1. Russ beat out Justin Fields for that starting job and will be under center on September 8th when Pittsburgh takes on the Falcons in Atlanta. Russ spent the past 2 seasons in Denver throwing 42 touchdowns and 19 interceptions. Now, Russ was released by the Broncos in March, signing with the Steelers on a 1-year deal later that month. And we have our very own Pete Prisco, also 2-time Super Bowl champ with the Steelers, Bryant McFadden, joining us to talk about this. And Pete, I'm going to start with you here because this was news that we were just waiting to drop officially, but it feels like we all kind of knew that it was going to be Russ. I guess depending on who you ask, but for the most people that I was canvassing, including you were not surprised that Russ was named QB1 for Week 1.
No, and I think had he not been hurt early in camp, I think it would have been the decision that was made earlier in the process, but he missed time, and when you miss time, you get the other guy to get an opportunity. Justin Fields did some things, but I thought all along they signed Russell Wilson with the idea he would be the starting quarterback. Again, though, the Russell Wilson we saw the last 2 years was bad. And there's no other way to describe the way he played. They were not upset that he was gone in Denver. He held the ball. He took too many sacks. You saw in the preseason he was still holding the ball, taking too many sacks, and that's a concern. So it was a choice they made because I think they feel it's safer. But maybe the other choice, Justin Fields, would have given him more upside in terms of the way you design the offense around him, get his running involved in the offense. That might have brought more upside. I think they're playing it safe with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not surprised to hear Russell Wilson is QB1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was Russell's job to lose. Going back to the offseason when they signed him when he was available, when you look at bringing in Justin Fields, it was more so about adding depth and competition, but it was Russell's job to lose. And to your point, the only leverage that Justin Fields had was when Russell was injured. Justin was getting all the reps throughout practices in training camp. And then, of course, he was the healthier guy. But Mike Tomlin made it known that what you do in preseason games will outweigh what you've done in practices. And in those 3 preseason games that Justin Fields played in, he didn't really win the job. He didn't just blow you away with his performances. And that led for an opportunity for Russell when he got back into uniform, into the lineup, to do just enough for them to be comfortable and knowing that, number one, he's healthy and he is the best option at the quarterback spot for us.
Now, Pete, I know you mentioned this is, potentially the safer route here, and maybe Justin Fields would have given more upside in this Arthur Smith offense. But B-Mac, if we break it down logistically, what do you think Russ is going to look like, and how is that going to fit in this new offense that we're going to see here in Pittsburgh?
That's the big question, Jacqueline, because we didn't really see a lot from Russell Wilson. Heck, throughout training camp, he was hurt more than anything, and he only participated in 2 preseason games, and it was a very, very small sample size. So me personally, hopefully he can provide experience. And I know Pete said Russell was bad his last 2 years in Denver, but a year ago, Russell provided serviceable numbers for the Broncos. Remember, before he got benched because of his contract issue, they were in the playoff conversation in the AFC. So if Russell can just provide serviceable numbers, making timely plays, making the routine plays happen routinely with that defense that they have on the opposite side of the football field, one would think they will be a competitive team and, most importantly, find a way to get into the playoffs.
Mike Tomlin is such a good coach that they're going to be in games. There's no doubt about that. They'll be feisty, they'll be tough, but they're the 4th team in the division. There, I said it. Russell Wilson starting a quarterback. Is he better than what they had? Barely. Russell Wilson, as we know him, isn't the same guy. Back in the day when he was in Seattle and they were going to the Super Bowls, they had the #1 ranked scoring defense in the league 4 straight years. They weren't going to the Super Bowls because of Russell Wilson. He was always a tad overrated. Now he's not nearly as good. And everybody looks at his name and they say, oh, Russell Wilson now with the Steelers, put him in as a division favorite. No, they're the worst team in the division. They're not better than the Browns, they're not better than the Bengals, and they're not better than the Ravens.
Who said put him in as a division favorite?
Well, B-Mac.
I just want to talk about something because we had a conversation earlier, B-Mac, with Pete about maybe fringe teams in the NFL. And you said the Steelers, they're a fringe team potentially. And before we came on camera, you were saying, I think they're going to finish last in the AFC North. B-Mac does not agree with that. B-Mac, where do you think the Steelers are going to finish in the AFC North if there is a healthy Joe Burrow? And there's a lot of question marks, of course, with the Browns, Baltimore, they're loaded with Lamar Jackson. Where does this team with Russ fit into arguably one of the most difficult divisions in all of football.
I think a realistic spot for Pittsburgh is third in this division. I think this will be one of the more competitive divisions in the National Football League, similar to what we saw last year. Remember, this division a year ago, the AFC North, they were able to get 3 teams into the playoffs. But the thing I like about Pittsburgh, just when it comes to division competition, they've always found a way to be competitive against division foes, right? Whoever the quarterback has been in the past, Pittsburgh has been relevant in AFC North games. When you look at Lamar Jackson, his record against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's not good. When you look at Joe Burrow, his record, not just against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but against the AFC North in totality, is not good. Joe Burrow has struggled against AFC North teams. Lamar Jackson has struggled against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then when you look at Cleveland, they always find a way to split the ball, to split the 2 games against the Cleveland Browns. And we've seen this happen with Pittsburgh with at best, mediocre play at the quarterback position. And to your point about Russell maybe being a tad bit better than the options from a year ago, nah, he's not a tad bit better. He's much better. Because when I look at Russell Wilson's numbers from last year, guys, and I don't know if this is good football or not, but played in a situation that wasn't ideal. He completed 66% of his passes. He threw for over 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. If the Pittsburgh Steelers just had that production at the quarterback position a year ago, they probably would have gotten to the second round of the playoffs. And you know you can get to that level in the playoffs, anything can happen. So yeah, to your point, it wasn't the Russell let him cook days that we've seen when he was there in Seattle. But if you telling me a quarterback can give you over 3,000 yards and 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, half of the NFL would take that and run with it at that position from that said player.
And yet they couldn't wait to get rid of the guy. I mean, if he was really that good, they would have played him no matter what the contract was.
He was expensive.
He was expensive, but they would have played him. If he was good, they would have played him through it. Believe me, I've talked to many people there. They wanted to get him out of there as quickly as they can. He held the ball. He wasn't very good. I don't care what those numbers say. Sometimes numbers can be deceiving. And here's the other thing. BMAC, I said they would be the last team in the division, didn't I? And BMAC pushed back on me. And what did he say? They're going to be the 3rd team. So they're one better than what I said.
Yeah. Yeah, but Pete, also, too, to your point about they wanted Russell gone, Russell was walking on a plank soon as Sean Payton got there to Denver. The relationship never was authentic and never was intact. So clearly there was some issues between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. So it was almost like he was on borrowed time regardless, because you talked about what happened during the season. How can you ask the man to take a pay cut? If you don't take a pay cut, we're going to bench you when you're in the playoff conversation. They were in the playoff conversation at that time. So that tells me it wasn't about what Russell was doing or not doing on the football field. It was more about the finances.
It was about all of it. It was all of it.
It couldn't have been about the field production.
Well, he wasn't any good. They didn't think he was any good. They didn't think he was any good. He was taking too many sacks. He held the ball. He didn't throw the football. He wouldn't. If you watch the games, BMAC, and you know, he took too many sacks. He turned good plays into bad plays because he took the sacks.
I would rather for my quarterback to take sacks than throwing the football when he's being pressured and creating turnovers for the opposing defense. Give me sacks instead of giving me interceptions, because they're going to kill you if you do. They're going to kill you if you don't. If you throw interceptions, he's a turnover-prone quarterback. If you take too many sacks, he's taking too many sacks. Russell had no options in Denver for any positive words coming from the media or anyone who wasn't a Russell Wilson fan. Like I said, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, completed 66% of his passes, is winning football from a quarterback. I would have loved to have that type of production.
I would just say this. BMAC, Justin Fields better keep that arm loose because he's going in at some point.
That's fair.
When do you think he's going in? If you had to make a quick prediction, when are we going to see Justin
before
Fields?
midseason.
Before midseason.
Yep, he'll be in before midseason.
BMAC, do you agree? Before midseason, Justin Fields?
I think they're going to have some packages for Justin Fields.
No, he'll be the starting quarterback before midseason.
But if Justin Fields is a starting quarterback, 2 things happen. Russell got injured, or Pittsburgh, they're not winning ball game. And Mike Tomlin is going to find a way to win ball game. So either the first thing happening will happen more so than the second option for me. I don't see Pittsburgh just falling flat on their face in the first 2 months of the season where they need to make a quarterback change because they're not winning.
Black and gold pom-poms, baby. Black and gold pom-poms.
Wait a minute. Pete, you were the one that said Mike Tomlin, he found ways to win.
No, I get it. Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach. There's no doubt about it.
So
but
they're not going to be bad enough to have a quarterback change mid-season.
You'd be surprised. That division's brutal. They're the worst team in the division. They're going to have to fight through a lot of stuff. It's going to be a long season, B-Mac. I hate to tell you.
Mike Tomlin, 17 straight seasons without a losing record. Clearly, Russ being named QB1 in Pittsburgh is stirring up a spicy conversation, and that conversation is just going to continue until we get to week 1. Pete Prisco showing off his pom-poms. I guess maybe B-Mac's black and gold pom-poms. B-Mac, we appreciate it. Just a reminder, you can watch the NFL on CBS starting September 8th. The Steelers, they're opening up their season against Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. You can stream all the action on Paramount Plus as well.